The patch 2.7 banners are absolutely stacked, with 4 aura farmers that are extremely high pull value. Which types of players should be pulling for which character? I'll go ahead and break that down here. Let's learn you some knowledge, starting with Lupa. Lupa is an interesting case as she has both big positives and big negatives attached to her. As with all things Wuthering Waves, let's start with the Glaze Fest first. As the premium support option for fusion characters, she's currently best in slot for every fusion DPS in the game. That means if you want to play Brant, Encore, Chongli, or even Galbrena, as we'll talk about in a bit, she pairs extremely well with them. These mono-fusion teams are also nice in the sense that they're good for both Tower and Whimpering Waste. That means by investing into these mono-fusion teams, you'll have a team that's more competitive in both modes, unlike say investing into a Carlotta or a Jinshi, where the teams are more tailored towards single target content in Tower. With both of these modes seeing rampant HP increases recently, Tower, for reference, went up by 50%, and wuwa going more than double in the last few patches. Any team comps that can handle both have huge value for accounts, so I consider this a huge plus. With Lupa being one of the few characters that can actually occupy the support slot, she has a lot of value there too. Many comps have her filling the same exact role that Shorekeeper normally would, meaning that if you're not reliant on healing, or you're pairing her with a character like Brant who has his own built-in healing and shielding, you now free up your Shorekeeper to have the option of supporting other characters who may not have that flexibility. There's one more positive, but it doesn't involve Lupa. You can be saving up to 22% on your next top-up using loopr.gg. With how stacked the 2.7 banner is, their discounts on top-ups are just the thing you need. There's even a character guarantee bundle so you don't have to worry about losing that 50-50. Yeah, that would have been useful for the viewer pools. Luckily, Lupa also offers the ability to self-top up. Simply purchase the product and log into the game via their website where you can claim your rewards in-game. They've got the reputation to boot, sponsoring so many of the content creators you already know and love. New users also get a 10% discount coupon, and returning users get an 8% coupon. Save yourself some money with the link in the description, and a special thanks again to Lupa for sponsoring this video. Anyway, back to Lupa. At the moment, we only have Shorekeeper and Rhinne for general supportive options, which makes Lupa a nice pickup to open up options for other teams. This is the point where I should mention this. Straight up, if you don't like the other fusion characters, don't consider Lupa. With her entire kit built around buffing other fusion characters, she doesn't get much value outside of that niche. And I say that knowing that there's gonna be one guy in the comments who says, "But my Douchi Lupa Baisha comp gets so much value on the side tower." Good for you, little bro. I didn't ask. It's also worth pointing out that if you're a more casual player, you may want to be wary. To maximize your efficiency, Lupa teams start becoming more dependent on quick swap. The Brant, Chongli, and Lupa team, for example, goes from being near the DPS output of everything but Kartethia's team in quick swap to falling behind the more meta teams in the game. If you're a more sweaty player like I am, this isn't much of a downside for you. But for those who don't want to learn rotations or quick swapping, you'll have a much better performance with teams like Augusta Premium or Kartethia Premium. I also want to point out by investing in these mono-fusion team comps, you're naturally spreading your damage across more characters, meaning the gear of those characters will matter more for affecting your team comp's damage. What that means in practice is that you need to get better echoes across more characters, meaning you'll have to spend more resources into gearing them up. For veterans, this may not be much of a downside as a lot of us have a lot of materials saved, but if you're a new player, it's something worth considering as a universal moon in the clouds does not pay dividends here. If you're planning to pick up mono-fusion but have no idea how to quick swap, that's fine. I'm making a quick swap guide in the near future, so make sure to subscribe to check it out. Overall, I'd say Lupa is a good pickup if you want to play fusion characters and a great one if you're okay with quick swapping. Her performance does fall off compared to the more meta teams without quick swapping, so do keep that in mind. Let's move on to Peak! Sorry. Galbrena is a main DPS that fits the standard hypercarry role. Since her damage output is coming from heavy attacks and echo skill damage, that means she has 3 potential archetypes to play around, making her weirdly flexible for a main DPS. So let's talk about how she fits into each archetype. Her current best option for pairings is with the fusion teams, so basically Lupa. Some example teams being Galbrena Lupa Shorekeeper or Galbrena Lupa Mortefi. If you want to get into more sweaty territory via quick swapping, Galbrena Brant Lupa works as an option here as well. I haven't gone to test yet whether Galbrena quick swap will outperform the likes of the current mono-fusion quick swap, so speaking honestly, I mainly just know it's a viable option. In her role as a more heavy attack unit in the hypercarry playstyles, Galbrena kinda suffers here. To compare with units like Yuno and Mortefi as her sub DPS and Shorekeeper as a support, but both of these options perform better with the character we just got literally one patch ago. Augusta is the schoolyard bully, taking the characters that Galbrena wants to pair with here and just performing better with them. That means Galbrena loses some points here. She does have one more archetype though. As an Echo skill character, this opens up her to pairing with other Echo skill characters, which currently only involves Frolova. Luckily for this archetype, Wuthering Waves is already testing future Echo damage support with one of the in-game sets added in 2.6, Law of Harmony. This set buffs the Echo skill damage of every Resonator in the team by up to 20%. But currently, there's no user for it. That means in the near future, they plan on releasing a character who's made to be a buffer for the Echo Skill archetype. And if I had to guess, it's likely Qiuyuan. I don't see a real reason why they would have released this set in 2.6 otherwise. This is important because the last thing I want to note is that as of current, Galbrena teams are slightly underperforming the best teams in the game. She'll need that little bit of an extra bump if Kuro plans on having her up there with the likes of Augusta and Cartethia. With Law of Harmony already in the game, it's certain to happen in the near future. With their current teams though, I'd say Galbrena is a good pickup, and with her versatility of being able to fit into 3 archetypes, it means she can get easily buffed by many characters in the future. The second half hosted character I'm very familiar with. My most played character, Zani. Zani's a heavy attack based character who's completely reliant on Spectrofrazzle to operate. If you're not using a Spectrofrazzle character, you don't want to pull Zani. At the current moment, that leaves us with Chacona, Spectrover, and Phoebe as potential Spectrofrazzle generators. This is the part where I tell you don't play Chacona with Zani. Chacona is already part of the best team in the game with Cartethia, and if you try to force her into Zani teams just because she applies Spectrofrazzle, you're gonna make those teams perform worse than with free options like Spectrover. Just don't do it, man. I also wouldn't recommend picking up Zani without Phoebe. The damage loss from not having Phoebe's insane Spectro generation, coupled with their whopping 100% Spectro damage increase outro, means that not only is Zani performing much worse without her, she also just feels much worse because you don't have the extra stacks to constantly use Nightfall. With their negatives out of the way, let's start talking about her many positives. Zani's able to deal consistent damage throughout her whole rotation, meaning you won't have to deal with a nuke that comes out 2 seconds after the timer to lose a clear. She's also the best character at invalidating boss mechanics. She's a parry built in on both parts of her kit, allowing her to parry any move that can disrupt your rotation. She also pairs with both Phoebe and Spectrover, both of which are characters that can pause enemies. In Phoebe's case on her skill, and Spectrover on their outro. Pausing bosses means learning less mechanics and taking less damage. Very player friendly. Zani's main positive comes from playing her in Quick Swap. If you play the Zani Phoebe Spectrover ADHD team you see here, you have every tool in the game to invalidate boss mechanics. During Nightfall, you can swap off a Zani to continue doing her damage, where she'll chase the boss to the ends of the earth in her quest for vigilantism. If you can learn to play like this, it makes Mono Spectro feel like the most fluid comp in the game. Just like the Mono Fusion team, her consistent damage output makes Zani a great team for both Tower and wuwa. This gives her added value over characters who may be more focused on one or the other. If you have Phoebe, Zani is a good pickup even if you're not willing to quick swap. If you are willing to quick swap, Zani is one of the best pickups in the game, and she's honestly just hella fun. I'd recommend her. Last on our list is the first male character we've seen since Brant, Qiuyuan. I should make a disclaimer here that there's not much official information on him, but we can speculate on what he may do based on Galbrena and the currently unused Echo set Law of Harmony. As I mentioned during the Galbrena section, her current teams don't compete against the top of the top, and with Law of Harmony being an Echo set that buffs her main damage type, Echo skill damage, it's extremely likely they'd add a more premium option for her. That means that Qiuyuan is potentially her best in slot. Galbrena wouldn't be the only character to benefit from this though. Frolova is also an Echo skill damage character, so if Qiuyuan uses Law of Harmony or interacts with Echo skills in some way, it could be used with Frolova as well. I'm not gonna lie though, that would be kind of wild given Frolova is already by far the best character in Whimpering Waste, and an amazing one for Tower at that. As for what the team comps would look like here, I had a few ideas. Rochi's not adding too much to the Mono Havoc comp, so Qiuyuan could easily slot in there for a team like Qiuyuan, Frolova, Contarella. Depending on if Qiuyuan has Echo skill cast himself, we could also see something more hyper carry style such as Shorekeeper, Qiuyuan, and Frolova. There could even be some super wacky comps where like Galbrena, Frolova, and Qiuyuan end up on a team together. Once again, the only way these comps work is if Qiuyuan is an Echo skill damage buffer, and the only things we have to support that theory are the unused Echo set in the game, and the fact that Galbrena teams don't currently match up to the strongest teams in the game. As both a Galbrena and a Qiuyuan simp though, I'm not complaining. If you have any questions, make sure to ask me live at twitch.tv/Rhinne, and make sure to check out my Echo guide right here. Take care.